What's up everybody, Jesse here, or Game Over Jesse as some of you all may know me, and today we have a lot of interesting news. With the help of Goku from Dragon Ball Z and Shreck, hackers are turning Breath of the Wild into the most bizarre 3GI game that you can imagine. Scalpers are fighting Nintendo in a battle over the SNES Classic, and losing, thankfully. Sony's PlayStation division releases new hardware with very subtle tweaks, and we have some more news concerning Zelda and Nintendo, so let's get started. Remember, if you aren't subscribed already, please do. For subscribers, we are doing a huge giveaway for the release of Super Mario Odyssey on the Nintendo Switch, or a download code for any other video game of your choice. You'll find a link in the description and the top pinned comment, and all you need to do is simply click it to enter. With all of that out of the way, let's begin. First up, just because this can't wait any longer, from Go Nintendo's, hackers are either being even more creative than they ever have been, or they're scraping the bottom of the barrel, you decide. This is either the worst or the greatest Breath of the Wild mod that I've ever seen, I can't tell. Go Nintendo says Zelda Breath of the Wild swaps Hinox for something far more sinister. As we can see, it is a giant Shreck. And the best part of this is, if any of you know McIntyre Productions, all I can see on Twitter when I log in is images of him playing as Goku with Shreck chasing him in the background. I don't think Nintendo ever envisioned someone hacking Breath of the Wild in this way. Like, you assume that you'll do something like infinite rupees, infinite arrows, stuff like that. But it's always fun to see something like this where the modders and hackers aren't necessarily trying to break the game, they're not trying to glitch it, to hack it, to find more data. They're just having fun. Like, this is Shreck chasing Goku. I never would have thought I would be seeing this. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments below. Just a really quick news story before we move on to the real news. Once again, from Go Nintendo, eBay scalpers are not making as much with the SNES Classic as they did with the NES Classic. This is great news because it means if the inevitable Nintendo 64 Classic comes next year, or the Game Boy Classic, or even if they do another run of the SNES Classic, like they have already announced for the NES Classic to re-release next year. This is great news because maybe it will convince all the scalpers to not rush out and buy every single unit they can find of the NES or SNES or whatever other classic system Nintendo releases. If they're not making as much money, then hopefully that will be enough to persuade them to just not do it. Especially since it seems Nintendo is releasing more and more of these classic consoles with every new release. If they continue this pattern for the N64 Classic or whatever, then hopefully, even if a scalper does rush out and buy 20 or 50 different units at once, maybe, hopefully, there will be enough extra left over for fans to actually buy it. We know at the Best Buy and some other places we're getting upwards of like 180 additional units to that of them pre-ordering. So you could go to the store, pre-order, and then if you went back to the store on release day, if you weren't able to get a pre-order, they still had 100, 180, 160. It was different for each store depending on how popular the area is, but each store did have a lot of units. But there was also some stores that only had 5, 10 units. So it's still a problem in some areas, but Nintendo is learning, which is a good thing. Anyways, back to this. The details on Go Nintendo says the NES Classic sold for $240 on eBay on average. On launch day, the SNES Classic sold for $165. The SNES Classic averaged 240 units sold an hour on Friday, down to 90 units an hour over Saturday and Sunday. The average sale price was $158.50 over the weekend. Go Nintendo goes on to say, while things started out rough for Nintendo, it seems that the actual launch of the SNES Classic has gone well. They put a ton of stock out there and it's keeping scalpers from going crazy like they did last year. With more stock to come via multiple retailers, it looks like this situation should get better. And this is basically what I was saying with Nintendo putting out more units. We know Nintendo said they're putting out more SNES Classics at the launch of the SNES Classic than the NES had during its entire lifetime, and they'll be relaunching the NES Classic during the summer of next year, hopefully relaunching the SNES Classic as well. And then, who knows, maybe we'll get an announcement for the Game Boy Classic or Nintendo 64 Classic if we're lucky. Maybe a Virtual Boy Classic. Alright, I can't say that without being serious. But you guys get the point. Good for Nintendo. Keep it up. Shame on you, scalpers. Third on our list, moving outside of the world of Nintendo for a bit. This comes from UploadVR.com, where they say Sony reveals new PSVR model with HDR pass-through revised design. UploadVR says PlayStation VR celebrates its first birthday in just under 2 weeks' time, and the company is marking the anniversary with a revised model. Japanese publication Famitsu has revealed— I love Famitsu, by the way. It gives a lot of Dragon Ball Z and Zelda news. Anyways, quick shout out there. Japanese publication Famitsu has revealed a new version of the PS4-based VR headset that sports some minor but appreciated updates. For starters, the kit's processor unit now allows for high dynamic range, or HDR pass-through. PS4 got an HDR update last year, but anyone with PSVR needed to unplug the headset to get the benefits on their TV. To be clear, this doesn't sound like PSVR itself now supports HDR, just traditional games can be played on a TV with the option while it's still plugged in. Elsewhere, the site notes the headset stereo headphone jack has been relocated. The cables have been replaced with new, slimmer alternatives. PSVR wires can indeed cause something of a mess, so this is another appreciated update. The images above are all we have for now. It sounds like that's it for the updates. Nothing major then, though the PSVR only a year old, Sony would be hard-pressed to implement a major new feature that would require early adopters to update. Still, we'd love to see improved tracking for the headset's 180 degrees single camera solution, or some improved motion controllers. We've reached out to Sony to confirm this model will also be making its way to the US, Europe, and other parts of the world soon. It costs 44,980 yen, about $398, so don't expect this new model to have a big price drop if it does release somewhere else. And obviously it's going to release somewhere else. But we have an update on this article. It turns out UploadVR is a bit behind on the news because Push Square reports that Sony's tweaking the PlayStation Move Controller 2. Now this article is a bit shorter. It says, in addition to tweaking the PlayStation VR headset, Sony's also announced a host of revisions for the PlayStation Move motion controller. While this information comes courtesy of the Japanese PlayStation blog, it looks like the main tweaks include a transition to micro USB for charging, the same connection as the DualShock 4 uses, and an increase in battery size. Okay, so it gets into a bunch of different stuff, but it's making the battery bigger and it's changing the way that it charges so it fits more in line with the PlayStation 4 as opposed to the PlayStation 3, which it was originally designed for. And that's it for today's news. Please let me know what you think of these videos. Would you rather have several different videos on each individual piece of news, or would you like them in a longer video collection? Or would you rather have them in a longer video compilation like this? Remember to subscribe if you haven't already to help us meet our goal of 50,000 subscribers. And if you really want to help support this channel, please head over to patreon.com/GameOverJesse. A link will be in the description and the top pinned comment, where you can help support this with $1, $5, $10. It'll give you access to videos early. You'll be able to suggest topics for videos. You'll be able to actually voice or appear on videos, discussions, podcasts, Zelda theories. Almost everything I do, there's a chance you can be on it. All you have to do is head to patreon.com, and there's a lot of other really great stuff on there as well that you can be a part of. Finally, the link for the Super Mario Odyssey for Nintendo Switch giveaway is in the description and the top pinned comment as well. So if you want to enter, click it. You'll have 4 different ways to enter. And with that, thank you all for watching. The videos on this channel are funded by supporters on Patreon like you. If you're a fan of this channel and would like to join on videos, receive shoutouts, watch videos early, have your questions answered, or have your topic discussed on our podcast, please consider supporting on Patreon for these and many other rewards for just $1. Shoutouts for this video includes Link Use the Triforce, Rusty Caulfield, Lovable Christie, Give Time 15, Shadow to Us, Robbie Morgan, and Lunarium. I want to thank all of you for everything you have done to help support this channel.